The real reason for WWE releases in 2025 has been revealed and has one extra name been released this evening via PW Insider. Elektra Lopez looks to have been released as well. And I've done a little bit of research. First off, Fightful have not confirmed this report at this present time. Sean Rossap is looking into it. Originally, she was on the alumni page with still the SmackDown banner. However, that is different now. She has no banner next to her name like other superstars. So WWE are pretty much saying she's not with the company. PW Insider are reporting it. Fightful have not collaborated on it as of yet. Your initial thoughts to reaction of Elektra Lopez potentially being released by WWE?
I mean, I generally can't remember the last time I see her wrestle. I think that's always a major plan or a major issue when it comes to actually being a wrestler. The only thing I will say is that I think Legado del Fantasma are kind of on the up at the minute, and they're starting to be used more on telly. And she was literally in a segment last week on SmackDown backstage. I think it was last week, and she's gone. And it's kind of like, yeah, it sucks, but at the end of the day, if it's kind of a case for a lot of them, maybe not so much Carl Anderson because I think he's actually still injured, but a lot of them aren't being used predominantly. Well, no, all right, let me rephrase this correctly. 75% of them are currently not used as much as what they probably should be. Isla Dawn, I think is probably the biggest shock to me because she's recently just been a women's tag team champion.
True.
Sonya Deville, unfortunately, I think she's just a victim of really bad luck. Like, obviously, I think I've said many times before, she was on the up when it comes to she was with Chelsea Green. She was on the up, and then all the stuff that happened in her personal life, which kept her off TV, and she's just never recovered from that momentum. The rest of them, Cedric, yeah, okay, went back to NXT, but again, he's on a main roster contract on NXT, which I think doesn't favour him very well. And it was kind of like his creative has never been good ever since the Hurt Business went. So again, I can understand why some of these guys have been released, because if you're not using them, dude, they've got a whole plethora of talent coming up, and you need to get rid of someone. You can't keep everyone employed, unfortunately. But it sucks, but it's just the way it's happened, man.
It is unfortunate. Let's quickly go through the names and then we'll give the reason of why so many releases have been given. And an easy way to remember all the names, I'm going to throw them up on the screen for you. That's probably the easiest way. So if we start with the top here, we've got the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson being released for a second time from WWE. We got Blair Davenport, who unfortunately didn't really get the rub of the green once getting the call up to SmackDown, was barely used on TV at all. The Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering, of course, part of the Final Testament, but of course, they were re-signed to WWE after being released originally back in 2020, 2021, but they were not used for a long time because they couldn't find a placement for them in WWE. And like I said, they finally got into the Final Testament, but that group appears to be no more. Giovanni Vinci there for us on the right, of course, was part of Imperium. He broke away from Imperium and did his own thing in NXT for a while, was back with Imperium on the main roster, then went to do a rich Italian-style gimmick, and of course lost 2 matches quickly on SmackDown to Apollo Crews and vanished from our screens once again. Cedric Alexander, like you mentioned there a moment ago, of course, part of NXT on a main roster contract. I imagine of everybody, you can kind of see where his future will lie very early. Isla Dawn, like you say, big surprise with her, of course, was a women's tag team champion in the last year, but no one can take that moment away from her from Clash in the Castle Scotland. Of course, that's going to be something that will remain with her, I'm sure, forever. And of course, she's one of the ones that's been very positive, along with Cedric actually saying, see you in 90 days. Sonya Deville was my biggest shock of the lot of them, to be brutally honest. I just feel like that's a lot of potential, a lot of talent there, but like you say, bad luck has been with her in the last few years, and let's be honest, of course, the Pure Fusion Collective hasn't been booked to the potential that it could have been. And if Elektra Lopez has been released, which of course PW Insider are reporting it, and of course myself looking on the website of WWE, have noticed that she is on the alumni page with no brand being attached to the name anymore. I actually thought she was a good manager. I will sympathize with the idea. Last time in ring, I think it was the United States Championship tournament they were doing for the women. She may have appeared in that. However, I do think that she was a good backup. She added to Legado del Fantasma. So I think her absence will be missed for particularly Santos Escobar. I thought it just added to his mystique, his character, his group, what he was presenting to the table, having that manager behind him. But Berto and Angel, I think, are getting better TV time than Santos right now, which goes to say how well that group is probably being booked in WWE. But let's go for the real reason why these releases happen for those that are still wondering and are not aware of it right now. It is because WWE are planning the next NXT call-ups. So for people to be able to come up from NXT to Raw and SmackDown, there needs to be a space for them on TV. So for that reason, people that were not being used to the best of their potential, those people were moved on. Maybe one or two as well will be contract situations. But yeah, for those people in NXT that are going to come up, hypothetically, let's look at the people that are probably ready right now. Your Trick Williams, your Roxanne Perez, your Fraxiums, Ethan Page, people like that. For them to come up, it's just going to be crowded on that main roster area. So WWE wanted to, I suppose, make space and room for those incoming talents. NXT, your reaction to that news, and then we'll get to the comments.
I mean, dude, it's the fairest reason. At least you're given a reason this time. It was how many times have we sat through releases before where it's just gone, yep, see you later. But when we sat there when like Keith Lee was released and Aleister Black was released, and we're like, are you insane getting rid of like those two guys? Just didn't make sense. But like I said, you said Sonya Deville, but it's like for me, Isla Dawn, like she was literally recently just a tag team champion, and I know with Sonya, I think hers isn't. She hasn't been released. I think they're just not renewing her contract. So this is kind of the same lines as Baron Corbin, and I mean, like I said, with a lot of them, you can see like with Sonya Deville, the Pure Fusion Collective isn't getting over. Like maybe a victim of bad creative. Probably some of these guys probably are a victim of bad creative, but dude, I understand their reason. There's just. Like I said, with half of these guys, I think they'll be okay. They'll just do some indie shows. Some of them, like I'd like to see go TNA because I think that's still a way in. Like TNA, like they've just had some people leave, so they could do some talent going in there. Isla Dawn, I think, would do fantastic over there. Sonya Deville, I think, would do fantastic over there. Like these, I think most of them are more character-driven wrestlers, which I think TNA will eat up within a minute. I think if you're going for out-and-out wrestlers, Giovanni Vinci, like I could see on AEW just because of his wrestling talent. Do you know what I mean? So it's like there are pros and cons, but dude, I wish them all the best, man, and just hope that they end up somewhere decent. Half of them have got charisma, and the other half have got talent, so they'll be okay.
I agree with you. I think that's the one thing you can take from a positive standpoint, if there is any, is outside of WWE. It's not like 5 years ago or perhaps even 10 years ago. We think, where do these people go? It's a very healthy market out there right now where people have been released before from WWE, and goodness, the stock value that's gone in their name since leaving, to the point where perhaps WWE have either taken them back, or the fact is that they don't need to go back. They're doing great work on itself. You look at like a Matt Cardona, for example, who's completely reinvented himself on the indie circuit, has won multiple championships. He's, people calling for his return. He's been doing stuff with, AEW's side of Ring of Honor recently. He's gone and done with TNA. Like, he just goes and picks the schedule that suits for him. So, I mean, people can go out and do stuff and make things work. So there is a great market out there, but we can't forget that this may be people's dreams job. This is the place they wanted to be. They're going to be without friendships. It's a big start. It's a new beginning for a lot of them. So the thing we have to do is to be supportive. So, I mean, if you can send some well wishes to those that have, unfortunately, suffered being released from WWE or not having contracts renewed, depending on what the situation is, support goes a long way for these people, and it helps pick them back up. And obviously, for some of them already, they look to see what the future has. So let's see what happens. It's 90 days, and we'll probably see where they're going to land and where they're going to prosper. And like you say, for many of them, they've got a lot of talent, or they've got a lot of character, or they've got maybe the full package. So let's see where they're going to end up. But this is a live Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. This is your show. So we're going to get your questions in, your comments in. So make sure to get involved nice and early. Make sure that you are within a shout. We'll give you a shout out as well. And it always helps if you hit that like button as well. Subscribe if you are new here. It helps us here on YouTube break through the algorithm. And it helps you as well to discover more content from this channel. Because believe it or not, quite a lot of regular content does drop on here. And I just want to leave one last question for you. If you want a video of where do I think or where NXT thinks these superstars are going to land next, hit a yes, just the word yes, in the comments section right now. If there's enough of them, that video will be published and will be released. Let's jump into the comments and see what you've all got to say. Pierre says, hello, boys. Well, hello to you, Pierre. Thank you for checking us out this evening. Hope you're doing well. Says today is the big game Super Bowl night. That's right. For those that are into NFL, hope you enjoy the Super Bowl final, the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Feel free to let us know your prediction as well. It'd be nice to know your prediction. Unfortunately, my prediction is I don't really follow it, so I'll be just picking a name out of a hat. And Steve, do you have a pick tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go Eagles. I don't want Taylor Swift to win. I think Taylor Swift winning the Super Bowl again, I think is ridiculous. Eagles all the way for me.
Just for that reason, I'm going to say the Eagles as well. Nothing against Taylor Swift at all. Even if I knew she was trouble, it's just a case of that. I think that, like you said, I mean, Philadelphia. That's where WrestleMania was last year as well. So, from a pure wrestling bias standpoint, let's go Eagles. Obviously, as well, Pierre wants to see some positivity. You can guarantee there'll be positivity from us on this stream. Mr. Sims UK says, if you can take any of the release wrestlers, including Indy Hartwell and Duke Hudson, and sign them from TNA, who would you take? So, I mean, obviously, other names there like Indy Hartwell, Duke Hudson are available as well. So, for the names that we've seen there, let's make a cap limit. Let's say 3 maximum can go to TNA. Which 3 are you picking?
Bring up the image again because my brain is like a sieve, so I can never remember who's. I know
That is.
If you're going to go with me, I'm going to go with. If I want to go TNA, I'm going to take Sonya Deville, Isla Dawn, and I'd probably say Cedric, to be fair. I think if you put Cedric in there, he could be like a new, almost like Rich Swann kind of character.
I like it. If I didn't feel that Cedric is already going to be set for AEW and the Hurt Syndicate, that's where I feel he'll be. I'm going to leave him out of there, but I'm going to agree with the 2 of the 3, Isla Dawn and Sonya Deville. I just think that both of them will prosper in that, knockouts division. But someone I think will thrive in the X division is one Giovanni Vinci, a fantastic wrestler. When he's given the chance to have his moment to shine in ring, the dude is phenomenal and he can stand out as well. If they can just get the gimmick and the character side right for him, I think he could be a real star. So I'm going to say him for TNA. So that'd be my 3 for you. But hey, if you include Indy Hartwell and Duke Hudson there, I wouldn't be surprised if either of those ended up there at some point as well. But hey, like I said, maximum 3. Mrs. UK said take Isla Dawn and give her the NXT UK Dark character and put her in the tag team with Rosemary. Is that something you'd like to see?
Dude, why not? I mean, it's obviously what Isla Dawn is kind of famous for, that whole sort of dark arts, witchcraft kind of thing. It might be a bit too easy to book, and I'd maybe want to see her do something else. But dude, if you want to bring her in instantly, why not, man?
Yeah, I think that would be a really good way to go about it, actually. More I think about the Undead Realm, Rosemary always needs a way to keep that sort of rolling and ticking. Always new people come in and out of that sort of world. Isla Dawn would be fine in it. And Isla Dawn could be someone that could easily come into it originally, but could also turn on Rosemary. It naturally builds a tag team. It then builds a rivalry. It works. Ticks all the boxes for me. Bobby's in the house. Bobby, thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Same with Joe as well. Doing well, my friend, and hope you are as well. Got to love the John Cena sort of display picture for you there. Some would say they can't see him. I certainly can. Pierre says, I feel like Santos Escobar is not going to win a title fight now. Never really had that feeling recently. I feel Santos Escobar's lost a bit of shine for me at the moment. I don't know. It's just the Royal Rumble was where it really hit for me. You know, like when the people come out, and he came out number 5, and I really like Santos Escobar. I think he's great in ring, but I just felt it was one of those numbers in the Royal Rumble. I just went, oh, okay, not so excited for it. I feel that he needs something to get him ticking again in WWE.
Since they initially broke up Legado del Fantasma and brought Santos up by himself, that's kind of killed his whole momentum. And another guy that has never really recovered from it. So the dude is such a great wrestler and he's such a good heel. And it just seems like NXT managed to hit the nail on the head with half of these guys. But then as soon as they get the main roster, it's like I know obviously Vince was the problem before, but I don't understand why Triple H isn't reverting half of these guys that aren't over back to their NXT roles and get themselves back over again. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, if Bobby Roode was there, you'd instantly turn Bobby Roode heel and you'd have him going back to being how he was in NXT. Santos on NXT as a heel, Andrade on NXT as a heel. Massive, massive.
Absolutely. Can you hear me, by the way? Just my audio seems to have cut out for the moment. I can't hear you though. That's going to be a bit dangerous for this at one point. We'll see. We'll see how we go for the minute. Maybe one of us needs to come out and come in again. We'll see how we go. Hold on. Just to read a couple of comments in the meantime, Joe says that, yeah, Super Bowl night, he will be watching it. If you're watching it, let us know you picked for the Super Bowl. Would like to know. Javon Evans, now a single guy, and that's good, says Pierre. Didn't know didn't know if he was a relationship single, what his situation is, but I guess watch out, everyone out there. I've figured out, Enix Steve. You're on mute, my friend.
Oh, that would be why then. Apologies, mate. What a numpty. I don't even know how I've done that. I must have pressed it by accident. No, he meant that Cedric Alexander was a tag team partner with Javon Evans.
I see. There you go. That makes sense there, to be fair.
What a twat. What a technical issue. And it was all me all along by leading on the mouse. What a twat.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's me getting mixed up about Javon Evans now being a singles guy. I mean, we're having a moment here, let's be honest. Sid, though, he was well ahead of the game. He knew before he even clicked on this video, release wrestlers, the reports have been saying that it's make room for NXT. Absolutely. It does make sense to be
The question is, so who's getting called up? Because that's a lot of releases. We ain't going to get that many call-ups, surely.
You never know. You never know. NXT, for me, has got people that are ready.
All right, let's think about it. So Anderson and Gallows were already on NXT as a tag team.
Yes.
So they're released. I think they're just there to free up space in the next team. Same with Cedric. Sonya Deville and Isla Dawn and Elektra Lopez are main roster. So that's 3 women going down. So what? Who's coming up? They can seriously bring up 3 women? Roxanne Perez, maybe 1. I can't think of another 2 they're going to bring up. That's kind of like, I don't know, Sol Ruka maybe. Who knows? Like there are some talent that's ready, but it's almost like they're not as big as Roxanne Perez ready, you know what I mean? And with some of the guys, I mean, the only guy I can think there's 2 guys that are remotely ready to come up is Ethan Page and Trick Williams.
Yep, they're definitely ready, in my opinion. I would say Fraxim are ready. I think it's getting to a stage where I think they would really sort of just freshen up one of the divisions. Yeah, I think after Stand Deliver as well. I would say that Cora Jade, I know she's been very unlucky with injuries, but how long do you keep her in NXT for? I feel that she's been there now for a long time. The only way you keep her there is if she actually wins the NXT Championship now. Otherwise, I think it's time to call her up.
I think that as well, and she needs to stay consistently fit. I think that's the real testing ground for her now. If she can stay consistently fit and healthy, by all means, bring her up. But there's no point bringing her up to the main roster if she's going to get injured again in a month and be out for however long. So that's the key part of Cora Jade, just would keep fit and healthy.
Absolutely. The other name that I suppose, if you wanted just to bring her in off the bat, is Jordan Grace, to be fair. I mean, she's definitely main roster ready, in my opinion.
Stupid. I suppose they just want the Julia Jordan Grace match, which is great, but it's like, it's almost like, this is criminal. We shouldn't be doing this. Jordan Grace should be on Mania card.
I agree. Stand and Deliver, is that the place for it?
I would believe so.
Feels like a right place for it. Could Julia be already being called up? Is she just quick running NXT and getting called up?
I wouldn't have thought so. See, the only reason why I say Jordan Grace is main event ready or main roster ready, she's done TV for TNT. She's done all that stuff for years over here. She knows how TV works and stuff like that. I think with Julia, it's obviously there's an integration time that she's got to go through coming over from Japan. I think they obviously still have to work out the promos because the language barrier is obviously still a bit of a thing. So hopefully she can improve on that. If they want to bring her up as a mute, by sure, she's ready. She's main roster ready. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And she's got to be able to cut a promo. So I think there's just probably a bit of work to do on that.
Seems to be the way, doesn't it? Pierre seems to feel that Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams are coming to Raw and SmackDown soon. Same like us, Ethan Page as well. He also needs to work on the physique. I'm not sure. I mean, Ethan Page has been in good form, to be fair. I mean, he's if you look how he looked about a few years ago, I think he's He's definitely
Some
changed
guys
his routines.
some guys just aren't cut out to have abs. Like Adam Cole is a prime example. How much stick does Adam Cole get for his physique? And it's just like the guy's never going to be shredded, and I'm okay with that, man. For me, it's about a promo. And Ethan Page, honestly, the second he got in NXT was just instantly the best guy on the mic, and he was almost too good from day one to be on NXT. So he just needs to be moved up straight away.
Completely agree with that 100% there. And like you say, everyone comes in different ways and different forms, and that's what makes them different, and that's what makes it interesting to see them on the screen. If everyone looked the same, it'd just be a bit boring, wouldn't it? Roy in house. Roy says, "Do we think there'll be any more releases?" I mean, going to have to give the answer. I hope not, because genuinely, I don't wish people to lose their jobs. It just doesn't seem like a cool thing to do.
Yeah, and to not be cruel, I wouldn't want to exactly sit there and say any names. Just think, do you know what I mean? It's not a nice thing to say, but like, yeah, I'm just gonna end it there. Before I was, I'm not gonna say any names.
No, like you say, it's we wouldn't wish that on people. So we're going to hope no. But the report should not have gotten released, says Fernando. Thank you for joining us, Fernando. I mean, she's not been on TV. The thing is, I'm not going to say anyone should be released because, again, it contradicts what I said a minute ago. However, she's not been on TV. There were rumors, though, she was going to be brought back to TV. She was going to be aligned with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven and like that security bodyguard role. That would have been quite fun to see, and it would have been something for her, but unfortunately, it was too little too late in the end.
I mean, the call-up she got last year in itself was, I think, a massive shock. And especially with what happened to Dijak last year when he got called up and then got released within weeks of being called up.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, Blair Davenport got past the point and was like, okay, maybe they genuinely have plans for her. But she hasn't done anything remotely interesting in the last year. And it's kind of like another one where it's like, probably is a victim of bad creative, but if they can't get you on TV and you don't bring anything to the table, unfortunately, you've got to make room for someone who they think who can make room, someone else who can do something on TV, unfortunately.
Yeah, it seems to be a case if you had to speculate, and this is if you had to speculate, Blair Davenport was called up from NXT, far too experienced for NXT, had been there and done everything. She was brought to the main roster, probably not much plans there. They gave it some time to see if the plans could fit in, but plans never came. So unfortunately, she hit the chopping block, and that's a shame if that's the case. Because I agree, she should not have got released. She should have got more of an opportunity, but unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. Ray hopes that AEW doesn't sign any of them because AEW won't use one of them there signed. Interesting stuff there. We'll see. I think Cedric will. I think Cedric will. I think Cedric is. I can see Cedric hurting people in 90 days.
I want to see Cedric versus Buddy Matthews. That's what I want to see because I want to bring back those 205 days and relive those things.
Will it be for an international title? We'll have to wait and see. Or a continental title. We'll have to wait and see how it will go down. Bobby says that I can see B. Priestley going into Marigold in Japan since she's worked with Rosie Ogawa. Hope I've said that right, Bobby. Before in Stardom, she would be a great contender for the Marigold World Championship. Sorry, I'm not going to butcher that name because I'm pretty sure I probably would.
Utami Hayashita, I believe that's presumed or pronounced.
It's certainly a good effort if it's not correct. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, she's got, like you say, previous history in Japan. Certainly would be something. Wouldn't be
surprised to Stardom and be a big star. Yeah.
She certainly could be indeed. Well, in good old-fashioned Daniel Bryan styles, we've got yes, yes, and yes. So this is good enough for me to say if this video should be done or not. We have 6 yeses, so consider it done. That video will be made, and I'll try to get it out for tomorrow. There we go. Tuesday at the latest, but I'll try and get it out for tomorrow. PS says, after WrestleMania 41, we need Roxanne Perez versus Lara Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental title with Roxanne winning. What do you think? I think if it's the right time for Roxanne to win it, then yes, because I think Lara's just got it. I want to see her make a legacy with that title. But at the same time, is this a match that I would like to see for that? Absolutely. I think it'd be fantastic. And would I be against Roxanne with a women's championship on the main roster? I would be certainly in favor of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, dude, for me, it's always the story. We know these two have history from NXT, so we know they can wrestle. It's all about creative. It's all about story. But, dude, absolutely, why not?
Absolutely, indeed. We have a prediction for the Chiefs to win again from Pierre there, but is it that what you'd be
Boo.
rooting for? We'll have to wait and see. I love the fact we mentioned
Boo.
booze there as well. We got a yes from Ray as well. Thank you, Ray. That video is going to be done. And Leo saying there's not really about the releases. And Leo, don't worry. This is your show. You put the questions in. It doesn't have to be about the releases for the whole time we're here. We can talk about other stuff as well. Saying, looking at the SmackDown episode, it looks like the WWE are pivoting with having Io versus Rhea instead, it being at the Chamber. Does it mean Liv will win? It'd be interesting. I mean, at the moment, we don't know officially if Rhea versus Io will be at the Chamber. I did suggest on a previous video this week, Matchcard predicted that I think Io will find a way into the Chamber, but we'll have to wait and see. But Liv has to be a favorite in this Chamber right now. But I would say that Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair are the three names confirmed for the Women's Elimination Chamber match. It's really anyone's game, really. I could see everyone making the case of being able to win that match.
I think Belair's probably got the least at the minute because she's still a tag team champion, and I think there's a story, obviously, with Jade and Naomi that will play out future down the line. That's got to get sorted out. But, dude, look, I said Liv was favourite to win the Rumble, so who knows at this point? She very well could be the favourite to win the Chamber. But, dude, I won't lie, I'd be excited for Io versus Rhea, but again, back to what I said a minute ago, creative. It's just all about getting that story transitioned on TV, and here's my case in point. We did a review of the Royal Rumble, and I was really negative on the idea of Gunther versus Jey Uso. Cut to Gunther on Monday night, and Gunther's pretty much already saved this story for me because he's come out and absolutely made himself this massive heel. And that's what I'm talking about when you've got the ability to make me believe in a storyline. Like I said, Gunther comes out, he delivers his stick, and honestly, I just thought it was fantastic. And I was kind of like, okay, I really want to see Jey versus Gunther now because I've got the feeling for it. I want to see Jey overcome Gunther, this bad guy, this guy who's holding a world championship, who says he's nothing, will never be something. Do you know what I mean? That's always about creative, man. And Io versus Rhea would be a really good wrestling match, but it's all about story.
It is all about story indeed. But one thing I can say that with a good story, you can also get a really good wrestling match. I think Io and Rhea, I'll get there in the end, will actually tear it up when they actually get the opportunity. But Leo just going to say as well, like that perhaps maybe it's a triple threat with those three at WrestleMania. That would be an awesome little plan as well. I don't think it is the plan, but again, this is coming from a personal opinion. I'm not going off an inside report. I'm not going on. I'm going off what I feel at this particular time. I have a feeling Io will find a way into the Chamber. I think she's going to win the Chamber. I would like Liv to win the Chamber if I had my personal wish, because there's still a chance of a triple threat at WrestleMania because I want Becky to return as well. However, I feel if I judged on plans right now of what I see on TV, I think Io versus Rhea gets its way to WrestleMania. I think Liv and Alexa are going to interact again in the Elimination Chamber after the Royal Rumble. And I think that could be Liv's direction for WrestleMania 41.
I mean, sure. But again, I'm going to go back to something I've been saying for months now. Liv's worked too hard to not be in the title scene at Mania. Unless they want to do a four-way or a triple threat or a four-way. I just think Liv has honestly worked too hard to not be in the title scene. I mean, I was just sitting there thinking now maybe we get like one of them weird finishes where like they both pin each other and they're both crowned as winner. Maybe something stupid like that. I don't know. But, I mean, dude, I'm sure it'd be great. I'd actually like to just see an Alexa Bliss match one-on-one at this point and just see how she is and see how, because obviously 2 years away from the ring, there's got to be some ring rust there, and I want to kind of make sure that Liv versus Alexa Bliss is something I want to see from in-ring capability. So we'll see, man. But I'm not against it. Again, it's just all about story.
Absolutely. Well, you can see Alexa Bliss in one-on-one action from SmackDown this past week. She took on Candice LeRae. It was a qualifying match for the Chamber. So there is one there.
Fair enough. Do you know what? I haven't seen SmackDown. That's why I haven't seen that. That's why I've just said that, because I've had so much stuff going on at home. I've just completely forgot that SmackDown was a thing this week. I'll have to check it out.
Unfortunately, I've given you one or two spoilers, so apologies about that.
Don't worry about it. I'm too old to care about spoilers.
There you go. PS says, I think I'd pick Indy Hartwell to be on TNA. Fair enough as well. Bobby would like to see AOP in the TNA tag team division, going off some early questions there. Blair Davenport will be now known as B. Priestley again. Yeah, I look forward to that. She was, I was a fan of B. Priestley before she was in WWE as
Top guys, yeah.
Blair Davenport. Absolutely. Keaton Williams says Isla Dawn and Sonya Deville should go to TNA. I feel that they will thrive over there with good opportunities to get over and be in the spotlight. Roy says that Indy Hartwell was on Busted Open Radio and challenged Master Slamovich for the TNA Knockouts title. That's a way to get yourself noticed.
Dude, that's how you've got to do it on the indie scenes. Is, do you know what I mean? Make outrageous claims and stuff like that. And yeah, why not, man? If you're going to go on Busted Radio, why not call out a world champion from another company? It's not going to do you no harm. Worst case scenario, you get booked for a match that you're going to lose, but it's still going to get you publicity for it. So yeah, go all for it, man.
Absolutely. A big fan of that direction from Indy Hartwell. Hope it works out for her. PS says, I think we can all agree Cedric Alexander is going to be all elite soon and the Hurt Syndicate will be complete. But honestly, I think the Hurt Syndicate needs more members like Max Caster and Mercedes Moné. I can see the Mercedes shout. Max Caster is a no for me. I don't know, just really soured on. The raps were fun a couple of years ago, but yeah, I know he's doing his work well as a heel, but still, I just don't think he would be a good fit for this group personally.
Yeah, his character doesn't work with what I think they're trying to put out at the minute. And I think the problem is that Bobby, MVP, Shelton, and possibly soon Cedric, they've got history and it kind of makes sense. Whereas bringing in Max Caster kind of like, it's something that maybe you would do in 6 months' time or a year, but not at the minute, no.
No, not at this particular time. Roy, not a fan of the NFL. It's not for everybody. PS says Max Caster, Ricochet, Mercedes Moné need to join the Hurt Syndicate. Ricochet would have been someone that could have worked before, but I think that he's got into a bit of a life of his own currently in AEW. I'm actually enjoying his direction at the moment. I've not seen this Swerve Strickland match from this past week's Dynamite as of yet. I'm aware of the result. Yeah, Ricochet's he's making moves in AEW. I'm actually enjoying what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that making him a heel would have been one of the things to get him over again so quickly when he had I think he was sort of cursed with a stigma going in, thinking that, oh, here's the flippy guy, and they just want to put him in a match with Will Ospreay, and he's kind of like turned a lot of heads with his character work in the last few months. So I'm all for it, man. Like, I'm glad to see he's got himself over again.
If you can get toilet rolls thrown in arenas, you're doing something right as a heel. That's all I'm going to say. Throw back to the 90s.
Proper ROH stuff, that as well.
Absolutely. Bobby says, which NXT wrestlers would you guys like to see appear on TNA? Which TNA wrestlers would you like to see appear on NXT? So let's make another cap limit for it. Let's go with 3. So start off then. NXT wrestlers you want to see appear on TNA that haven't already.
Obafemi, the guy's the biggest star at the minute, so I think he's got to go over there. If I want someone to go up against, say for instance, Joe Hendry, apart from Obafemi, I'm struggling for top heel at the minute. And then just for a female, I know I'm going to cheap out and only give 2 answers here, but for a female, I'm going to say Jada Parker. I think Jada Parker versus Masha Slamovich sounds like a killer match.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. You almost sway me to pick Jada Parker. So, you know, I'm gonna pick Jada Parker. I'm gonna copy your answer. I like that one a lot there. On the other side, I mean, we've seen Fraxim there a lot recently, so that's taken that one out there for you. But yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest run. I mean, even Page just to go back for a nostalgia pop, I think could be quite fun. Just would, I think it'd be good for lols. I would say Javon Evans. I think that he just sort of fits the X Division style of what they do, and he's someone that's a bit different and a bit out there. So yeah, I would say Javon Evans could be the other one. TNA wrestlers to appear on NXT, I think both mean you would just jump in and say Moose.
Yeah, 100%, dude. The guy is he's like Sting almost. He's evaded WWE for so many years now that he kind of like needs to go over there at some point.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts of Fandango coming back?
Oh, dude, loved it, man. Like, it's a very shocked that he come out with his, I believe it's JTG is his name, isn't it? Or something. No, JD, it's JD,
something. Yeah.
JDC, yeah. And I was like, oh, but the Fandango music is kind of like you're blurring the lines of kayfabe here, and I kind of like it. But, dude, yeah, it was great, man. Loved it.
It was good fun, to be fair. I did think it was a cool little moment. Ace Austin would be another one I'd like to see come over, by the way, just out of interest.
Yeah, dude, I think he'd be able to tear it up with some of the younger, like some of the cruiserweights on them, and there's some great stuff.
I'm going to ask the question: Would you be interested in seeing Tessa Blanchard on NXT?
No. Look, dude, there's a reason why certain superstars have never been hired for controversial reasons. Hogan, unfortunately, is like a bad smell and they can't get rid of him. There's many times as you open a window, he's not going anywhere. He's a fart that lingers and just doesn't disappear, unfortunately. And they are all about keeping controversial superstars out the window. Don't get me wrong. A year down the line could be a very different story. If Tessa Blanchard can prove that she can behave and not say or do stupid stuff, maybe. I'm talking like a year down the line, but dude, like I said, there's a reason why they don't hire these controversial stars.
Totally understand that, indeed. Sid says, Tom Storm, the best character in all of wrestling. I mean, again, fascinating with what she's doing. It's a good time to promote this quickly. Look out for it this week. AW Grand Slam predictions. You can't really see it very well there, but yeah, it will become.
This has got a load of stick, though, isn't it? Because Tony Khan's saying it's not a pay-per-view, but they're what did they do? They tweeted out something. Let's check out Grand Slam pay-per-view, and it's like they had to re-edit the tweets and all this kind of stuff, and it's like Tony Khan's like, oh well, I never said it was a pay-per-view. It's like, what is it? You rented a 50,000 capacity stadium for a TV special, did you? And then they've had to move it, obviously, because they didn't sell out. And I was like, oh, man, you need to sort yourself out. But anyway, back to Toni Storm. Dude, I was actually shocked that when they did the reveal of her pretending to be rookie Toni Storm and coming back to Timeless, the fact that they did that on Rampage, I think it was. Dude, that's a Collision. I was like, that's almost wasted. It was so good. Dude, I've already started compiling like our end of year results, and I already put that down as one of the best segments of the year. I thought it was great. And then this week she comes out dressed as, is it Mariah May? I can never remember the name properly. Dude, it was so good, man. Like, honestly, some of the best character work, and it's so simple but so clever.
Yeah, I mean the character work she's doing right now is incredible. Literally broke the internet on Wednesday on Dynamite with doing the Mariah May stuff, and I've had the chance to check it out. Thought it was really, really good. Yeah, I mean, I will save it for the predictions, I think, but all in all, it should main event without question this show, and I think it's kind of obvious it will because it's still being Australia.
Will that be the first time AEW's had women main event a TV special? Sorry.
Yeah, it should. This is one. It should keep it being pay-per-view for goodness sakes. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? But it would have been. Because in my opinion, it pretty much is a pay-per-view. I'm going to treat it like one, but it's not, which spoils it. Let's get controversial, and we can always give our take on it. It's just going to say something controversial, but I feel Adam Cole has horrible shape in AEW right now. He's looking like he's 60 years old, that drinks beer and eats fries every day for lunch. I mean, Adam Cole's been very unlucky with injuries, let's just say. He had the
I would kill to look like Adam Cole. Let's be honest, man. That guy's got fantastic hair. He's in decent shape for his age. Like, dude's probably as old as I am, and I'm like, I would kill to look like Adam Cole. So, plus he's like one of my favorite wrestlers, man. I think the problem with is the wrestling style in AEW, and I don't think he can handle doing that wrestling style anymore. I think he's best suited to the WWE style. And I think that's the problem because he suffered so many injuries. And I think obviously this relates to he can't work out, and which is why people pick on his physique and his fatigue and stuff like that. And I think it's that. I think he just needs to not wrestle AEW style anymore.
I mean, to be fair, you've summed that pretty well. I mean, I'm going to disagree with a 60-year-old because there's no way like that. He's in better shape than all of us that's in this stream right now. I'm pretty 100%. Sure of that. I can't agree with most of that, but it's controversial. We said we would bring the controversial comment up.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Exactly. That's your take. We have ours. So it says, I don't think anyone should be called up from NXT if they ain't going to be used on the main roster. And to be fair, it's true. They should have a plan if they're going to be called up.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking while we was talking, I'm going to quickly look through the NXT roster and just see if there was anyone else I thought that would be ready to come up. But it's always the way, man. Like, and again, this reverts back to what I was saying earlier on, that when Vince would bring these guys up, he'd have no direction for them, and then we'd end up getting like it took us years to get a decent NXT call up. Triple H is a bit different, but I just have faith that he knows what to do with these superstars, and in the nicest way possible. I think the stars that are coming up from NXT are a lot bigger than the ones they've released, and I think that's the point of it. Like, these guys coming up are. They've been all right. They've been on a completely different show, but they've been booked better. They've been champions, and it's kind of like you can't rely on. You have to, unfortunately, go with what's hot. And like I said, the ones that are coming up, unfortunately, are a lot more popular and a lot bigger than the ones they've released.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I can't argue with that comment there. If you compare them right now, you can see the stock value, and that comes down to a lot of creative, that comes down a lot of support and booking and decisions that have been made. And if you're in NXT, it may be seen as the third brand, but I mean, obviously, if you've been booked well on that for the last 1 to 2 to 3 years, and you're not being booked strongly on the main roster for the last 12 months or perhaps even longer, I think it's a given. What you say is bang on correct there. So yeah, it's hard to argue that. Pierre says that wrestling is all about creating emotions. Do agree with that comment indeed. But I have gathered a couple of comments up that I think Pierre's suggestion is that people should have bigger muscles, not smaller arms and smaller physiques in wrestling. So, I mean, if that's your take, that's cool.
Hey, we've seen a guy with one leg wrestle for WWE before. He was missing a whole limb. We'll have none of that, please.
The things that I agree with your comment, I disagree with Pierre's comment, but he's entitled to his opinion. So we'll let him have that.
I am not going to critique Pierre and take what's the word? Ostracize him, and you know what I mean. Stick him in the corner and be like, "Bad Pierre, you go sit in the corner until you say something nice about someone."
You think about what you've done.
You think about what you've done.
In the meantime, we'll say hello to Matthew. Hope you're doing well. Matthew says a crazy idea. The final match of Mariah versus Tony is an I Quit match, but not a Revolution in a Dynamite where we see the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. Yeah, that's easy for me to say. Where it started and where it ends. I'm not against the idea. I would prefer a Revolution rather than a random Dynamite, though. I think the feud's got big enough.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. Pierre wants to see Becky versus Lyra for the IC Women's title at WrestleMania 41. I would be up for that idea at this point because I don't see where Becky Lynch fits in otherwise.
Yeah, if anything, that actually probably makes a bit more sense than the suggestion we got earlier, just because those two are like pupil and master. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of some Star Wars reference here to try and compare the two of them. One, do you know what I mean? One's the Jedi, one's the. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but you know what I'm getting at. But yeah, that one makes a lot more sense.
It certainly makes a lot of sense, and it's massive for Lyra. It's massive for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Just prestige goes up instantly if Becky wants to be involved. So yeah,
I will say one thing about this now, because we've talked about Lyra Valkyria, and it's just come to my head. Right, have you seen the character model they have released for the new game? They've decided to use Lyra Valkyria's model from King and Queen of the Ring. I think it's King and Queen of the Ring, but one of the Saudi shows, when she's in a full one piece, and I'm like, why have you picked that outfit of all things to pick? Like the one that's, do you know what I mean? Because it's literally for a specific show, and it's kind of, I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't seem the craziest idea to me. Not sure I'm a fan of that either. Crazy hot take from Matthew wants to see Mariah May in the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, again, each to their own.
Yeah, I mean, dude, at the minute, I'd just keep it as the way it is. I think I will talk properly in a minute. If anything, Mercedes Moné kind of makes more sense in a minute, just because she's decked out in all them championship titles.
Absolutely, dripping in gold. Is Max Caster the best wrestler alive? No.
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree with that one. No.
But if you actually look at his trademark, the answer is yes, because he actually has it trademarked. No one had the best wrestler alive. He trademarked it. So he is the nickname. But if you want my opinion, subjectively, he's the best wrestler alive? No.
So does anyone have best in the world trademarked? Because I think I should be jumping on that bandwagon before CM Punk gets hold of it.
It might be trademarked. You can look it up. We can see and find it. I don't know. Pierce saw Harley Cameron's concert last night on Collision, and it was a really good concert, man. Harley can do anything. She can wrestle, she can do ventriloquist, can sing, and she's funny. She's an entertainer and starting to love her. I mean, to be fair, Harley Cameron has been doing some solid work. She's one of the most over people in AEW right now. And this is no AEW hate. It's going to come across it, but it's not meant. We're the best wrestle, but yet one of the people that's most over right now is Harley Cameron, and she's won one match, and she's improving in ring, but she's not one of the 5-star wrestlers that they've got, but she is an entertainer. She's got a character, and she's getting over. Character work over in ring work rate. That's what it comes down to. She can put bums in seats.
Yep, and it's kind of like, well, what if anything, she's automatically getting eyes on her for if she was to ever leave AEW. WWE can already see she's a really good character. Like, so do you know what I mean, she can bring her in, do anything with her, and she'll be great. So, yeah, that's the plus with indie wrestlers or people that work for AEW. If you can show you got a great character, man, WWE will snap you up like nothing.
Absolutely, she's doing great work at the moment, and looking forward to a match with Mercedes Moné.
The Ultimate Warrior was employed by the WWE, and he was not a very good wrestler, but his character was fantastic.
Mr. Face Paint, the ring ropes,
the rope shake.
Yeah, good times, good times. What Pierre wants to see Trick Williams in NXT. Good news! Each and every Tuesday, he will be there.
If you wait a couple more weeks, the YouTube channel will start uploading old episodes of NXT, because when he leaves NXT, you'll see him on there still.
He'll still be there. He also says, I need Stephanie Becker and Julia on an Impact show. Maybe even Jordan Grace. Impact won last time. I mean, now Jordan Grace has been there for 5 years. I'm not as desperate for that one, but the other two, I can see some excitement and value in that.
Dude, you know what? I actually think Stephanie Becker is a bigger star than Julia already. I think Stephanie Becker, I don't know what it is. I've just got this feeling that Stephanie Becker is a bigger star than Julia, and Julia's the champion. I don't know whether it's. Do you know what it might be? It might be the presentation as well, because we ain't even talked about the whole Death Rebel thing. But Stephanie Becker's music is killer, and honestly, was the only one I popped for in the Women's Rumble, and I was like, "This music is absolutely sick." So it might just be mean, it might just be music based, but I just genuinely think Stephanie Becker is a badass.
I think that it's a case of that. I can see where you're coming from. It's a presentation thing, but I think also it's a case of, I'm not saying Julia, I'm not making a comparison to Julia's John Cena. That's not what I'm saying here. But like, Julia's been like, okay, she's come in. This is like, the big name that was outside of WWE. We had to get in. We're making her the champion and everything else. Stephanie Becker is kind of the one that's like, well, she's going to go for the North American Championship. She's been held back a little bit to what you can see. And you can tell when you see Becker in the ring, she's just as good as Julia. She's someone that should also be in that top tier. And the second, I mean, to be fair, the second both of them are called up to Royal Rumble, they're going to absolutely change the game. They're going to kill it. They're going to be awesome.
It's so crazy that you can see the evolution in the women's division in WWE, like what we've gone to. And then, like, we were so happy when we got, like, Bayley and Sasha Banks and Charlotte and Becky. But you look at what's coming up for NXT now with Julia, Stephanie Becker, Roxanne Perez, and you're like, my God, the women's wrestling is just getting so much better.
It really is. And, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. P.S. John Cena doing the farewell tour. He did the Rumble. I will be watching live from Toronto, the Elimination Chamber. And he's never on Raw or SmackDown, and I'm tired of it. I think he will be on SmackDown and Raw more, but he's still filming currently, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not on TV until at least after Chamber, because he's gone back to, I think it's Hungary to do a film. So that's why he did the whole shtick at the press conference about, I'm going to be in the Chamber. It's the way of getting him out of having to do a match on TV.
Absolutely, have to see how it will go. Aries is in the house. Says, I hope that NXT does Javon versus Ethan, then debuts Josh Alexander, and Josh helps Ethan win against Broken Jaw Evans. That could be a fun way to go. When is Vengeance Day? Is
so it's next week? It's 2 weeks. What's the date today? Yeah, I think it's next weekend.
It's next weekend. Josh Alexander is a free agent on the 15th of February, which is next Saturday. There's a possibility that can happen.
Very good possibility.
Very good possibility. I'm down for that. Interesting. One idea, hold on, Matthew, so we'll get your comment back up in a moment. One idea, Mariah gets bodyguards, and that's when AOP come in, and Paul Ellering is the manager of Mariah and May, with AOP or the Righteous, Dutch, and Vincent. Don't forget, Elias now with the Righteous as well. I don't know if Mariah May needs bodyguards at this point, but certainly could be a way, at least, of use of AOP.
Yeah, might just be a bit overkill, really. I don't think a lot of women wrestlers need a whole tag team and a manager. Do you know what I mean? Even though Paul Elling's not exactly like a wrestler, but still, I think like AOP is just a tad overkill for bodyguards for a female wrestler in terms of story wise.
Absolutely, absolutely, indeed. Pierre says, I want to see Trick Williams in TNA. It could be interesting to see how that would work out. And NXT, it's a weird ideal the year for Lyra in the 2K25 game. So
I'm not the only one then. I'm glad about that.
Mr. Sims UK, not a fan of the price for the Bloodline Edition content. You're getting is rubbish. Most of the content is for my faction. Yeah, it's kind of a bit disappointing when it comes to that case.
That's why I don't buy that version.
Absolutely. I will not be doing the full-on version. I mean, to be fair, I still not got 2K24. So I'm going to be honest. I looked at 2K25 and I'm going to be honest, I'm not really hyped at the minute. It can be the lack of timing for gaming, but at the same time, I didn't look at what they've given us and thought I need to buy that. I've played Undertaker for about 30 years on wrestling games. It's not enough for me.
It's honestly, it's the online GM mode is what I'm buying it for. That's the one pure reason I'm going to buy it for. Like, I wasn't going to buy it this year, but that's the one, because it's kind of like, if you've ever played Football Manager, like, that is addictive in itself, and this is kind of like the wrestling equivalent, and that's like, me and my mates just want to do that, really. I'm not really so much bothered about the actual wrestling mechanics and stuff. It just seems, I don't know, like, I'm the same as you, dude. Like, I'm 40 this year, and, dude, I can't actually remember the last time I played a video game on my PlayStation. It's got to be about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I think I'm just getting old, man. That's what it is.
I think it could be time as well. Unfortunately, it could always play its part. But
the only thing I'd say buy 24 for is just the showcase mode for the whole WrestleMania thing. That's the only thing that's really worth it.
For me, that was the thing. I was like, I'm still more tempted to buy that one than 25.
What console you got?
You just said.
What console you got? Is it region locked to where you are, or is it like, you can have my copy of 24 if you want? I will send it to you, and you can have it.
I don't know if it's region locked or not. I guess perhaps it might be.
I will send it to you. We'll talk after. Send me your address, and I will send you my. Because there's no point me selling it, because I ain't gonna get squat for it. So I might as well send it to you and see if it works.
You'll find out the magic here on this channel at some point, ladies and gents. Speaking of Football Manager, it's been cancelled in the 25 one. Yeah, disappointing, but it's that late into the season, and can't say I'm too upset. Yeah, it was pointless.
It was expected.
Pierre loves Junior's music, but doesn't like Stephanie Vacca's music.
Yeah, go sit in that corner. Now you've angered me. Go sit in the corner and think about what you just typed. Go.
Pierre's turned heel today, I think.
Oh dear!
You know what they say with Toronto crowds? It's like, what was it in the 2000s?
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
It's gone. Purposely doing it today, Pierre. I can see what you're doing. Pierre says, I'd like to see NXT talents like Alexis King or Immense Rensick and Lola Vice on TNA. Do you know what really makes sense for a lot of them? Because I think a lot of them would actually benefit from that move as well. Sometimes you pick the big names. It's like, well, where does it benefit? I can see with all them, it can really help them.
Have they permanently changed the rules for the Heritage Cup now?
Yes.
From what I got is that it's just a one pinfall, like a normal wrestling match now, but it's not a championship belt, it's a trophy.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, they've scrapped all the rules.
Get rid of the trophy and bring a title. I hate the trophy. I honestly hate it. If you're not going to do the reason why it was created, just bring the European Championship back. Do you know what I mean? Like the NXT European Championship, it will replace the Heritage Cup, which was started in NXT UK. We'll do it that way.
Someone thought I was bowing to you there, but someone would have said I've gone yeet. But yeah, I'm down for it either way. Yeah.
Get rid of it. I hate the trophy.
Me too. I don't know. Look, this
It's
is the
so
thing.
awkward to carry.
It's yeah. Can you imagine going through an airport with that thing? Seriously.
Yeah.
So
Excuse
what
me,
do you
sir. Can
do?
you tell me why you have a trophy in your suitcase for? Well, I'm a wrestling champion, and it's kind of like, well, aren't you supposed to have a belt? Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Do you know, it just doesn't make sense.
I thought you played chess. To be fair, mate. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Are you in the Quidditch Cup by any chance? Are you Harry Potter?
The thing is, we should like the Heritage Cup because it's made from classic British rounds wrestling. The thing is, though, we've not grown up with British rounds wrestling. We want to see one full action. It's exciting. 3-minute rounds. It sucks. It doesn't. Yeah. It just no. It's
like boxing.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
There's a reason. Do you know what? I didn't help it as well. Is that Vince went for a period of just everything was 2 out of 3 falls, and this is just it. This is just a stipulation for a 2 out of 3 falls match. And honestly, unless it's the 3 stages of hell, I do not care for 2 out of 3 stages, 2 out of 3 falls matches. Just get rid of it.
Totally agree. Please bring back the European Championship. If you need something like that to get the British round stuff in or whatever, if you want something to get the European fan base, just bring the European title back. That's what we want.
Yep. 100%.
Shameless theme written in my face is the best. Bring it back ASAP. Certainly a fan. To be fair, I will sing along to that one. I won't lie.
I was going to say someone needs to sing it along because I don't know which one it is.
It's a shame that they.
I hate that one. I hate that one.
I'm sure that's right. Anyway, Herb Elias and the Righteous beat Dustin and Devon Eriks for the ROH 6-man tag team titles. Yeah, to be fair, I hope the same. I don't really watch much ROH, but now that Elias is part of the Righteous, I like the group. So yeah,
I like the video package of them just walking down the street, playing and singing and dancing. I thought it was very, very cornball, very almost like 60s-esque, like hillbilly kind of thing. Like I really liked it.
And who wants to walk with the Righteous? I'm sold.
100%.
TNA wrestlers like seeing NXT, Ace Austin, Leon Slater, Tasha Steelz, and Kylan King. Again, all would really benefit from that move.
Wasn't Leon Slater in NXT? Or is that someone else I'm thinking of?
I think you're probably thinking of someone else.
Oh, I'm thinking Leon Ruff, I think his name was. That's the one I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of, yeah. But Leon Slater is a UK based wrestler, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Wouldn't this tag team be sick? Leon Slater and Leo Rush, if Leo Rush was part of TNA. He was at one point, but now he's, of course, a part of AEW. And to be fair, if someone else was going to be part of the Hurt Syndicate, Leo Rush as the hype man alongside would be quite fun to see.
Talk about Bobby's ass.
What would you like to see WWE do with Alba Fire? Put her on TV would be a good start.
She needs a whole character reinvention now. She was stuck with that witch gimmick. I think just for the fact that she was with Isla Dawn and I'm not a fan of the name. I think Kaylee Ray was so much better, and genuinely, I think they just need to get her wrestling again and give her some time in ring and be able to do a showcase of her ability of wrestling. Because, dude, she is one of the best British wrestlers, in the female category that we've ever kind of produced. And I think every time I see her, she just super kicks half a dozen people, and that's it. And I'm like, we need to go back to the old Kaylee Ray, I think. I
completely agree. To be honest, I looked on the final transfer window, everything's finished, and I would have preferred Alba Fire to be on SmackDown. And I agree with you, complete reinvention of the character. Just go with like you said, go back to Kaylee Ray, bring back how she was, champion of NXT UK for however many, it was like 600 odd days. Like she had the title for a long time, and just present her as like she's back to basics and she's been in the tag team, but now it's all about her. And just there's a mid-card title to go for. Like that's the place to start off with. Just start establishing this mid-card division, because currently right now we have champions who SmackDown are doing a better job of it, because you've got B-Fab, you've got Meech, and you've got Zelina saying, I want to win this title. But I don't really see much of a division on Raw. Like everyone's focused on trying to get into the chamber. No one's really like, I want to be the next women's intercontinental champion. Do you catch my drift? I want to see that stuff. start coming in.
It doesn't help that they put Lyra in qualifying matches for the Chamber. That kind of defeats the point of being IC champion. That's a real AEW move. That.
Yeah, I would agree. Do you see her or Bailey qualifying?
I would like to say Bailey, but again, at this point, I think there's going to be a screwy finish to that one anyway. So I don't know. It's pretty hard to call, but I think Bailey. I would go with just because I know what Bailey can do in Hell in a Cell matches, and I'd have no worries watching Bailey in the Chamber match without seeing Lyra Valkyria in one previously. That's why I'd more favour towards Bailey at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I like seeing different faces, and I think it's a good opportunity to get Lyra on a premium live event. So I want to see that for that reason. And Roxanne Perez could be the reason Bailey doesn't make it. However, Bailey's a ring general, and right now we have all these names, and it feels like anyone can win. And I think Bailey just adds to that as well. And I'd be quite down for seeing Bailey versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I'm probably on my own on this one, a little hill, but I mean, it's a feud I don't think I've really seen before, or a match I've really ever seen. So I'd be quite keen on seeing that match.
Yeah, I can't say I even remember them having even a pay-per-view match of that kind anyway. But they've probably wrestled on TV before, but yeah, I can't say I've seen it either. But yeah, no, it doesn't sound like a bad idea. But again, I'll go back to what I said 20 minutes ago. It's all that creative, man. You got to get there with the story for me. Otherwise, if I'm not invested with the story, sure, you can blow me away with a decent match, but do you know what I mean? What gives me that 5-star feeling when I've watched a really good match is if the story has made it all even more important.
Absolutely, indeed. Just that we have had a couple of comments in that are saying things are factual rather than if you don't know if they are or not. And if you're not, if you're saying this stuff and you're not sure that it's 100% legit, please don't write it, because we will have to remove those comments, because hey, we can all be liable for what we write here, so please be careful on what you write. Yeah, just to say, I'm going to take that comment away now so you realize who you are that I'm talking about at the moment. Aries here says, I hate Mr. Chase's current gimmick of being this sad, broke bum. It makes me cry every time I see him like that on TV. I suppose it's to gather the sympathy, but I will be honest, I'm a bit not into Mr. Chase right now. I'm struggling to see what they're going to do, really. I've not been a fan of the direction as of late with Chase, or Chase U in general. Obviously, we lost Duke Hudson now at this point, but I felt that they were stronger together than they are apart.
Who is Mr. Chaser? I don't even know who that is. Is that Duke Hudson?
Andre Chase.
Oh, right. Okay. I haven't seen it then, but I mean, when was this on? I can't say I've even seen it. Was this on NXT this week?
He's been moping around backstage for about, I want to say, about 2 months now since he lost Chase U.
Oh, do you know why? It's because you're calling him Mr. Chaser instead of Andre Chase. That's why I'm getting confused as to who this guy is. Now I know what you're talking about. No, I know what you mean. He's he's just been sitting depressed in the locker room, looking like he's been living off the streets. And I can see it's almost very much like a bum-ass Corbin that they're trying to do with it, and it's kind of very rinse and repeat. And it's like, I was never a fan of the high school dean kind of character anyway, so another guy that desperately needs a reinvention.
He needs a character change now desperately. I actually thought he would make a great general manager at one point, but I think that ship sailed as well at this point. None of them are coming away from that. Pierre asked, what's our opinion on hardcore wrestlers like Nick Gage and New Jack? New Jack used to scare the shit out of me as a child, but I used to enjoy his matches.
I'm too old for that anymore. Yeah, I'm too old for it. That's what I'm thinking. Is I've outgrown it, and I just can't do it. It makes me wince every time. Like when I see certain stuff. Like I said, we did a retro review of the 2000 Rumble, and watching them do headshots with chairs, I was like, no, I can't do it no more, man. But like, I'm just getting old, and it just gives me a headache just watching it.
I mean, like watching Nick Gage, like with pizza slicers of people, like slicing people's mouths and stuff. Like, it's not for me. I'm sorry. Some people will like it. There's a demographic out there called. I used to like ECW a lot in the teenage years, but I tell you what, I'm not sure how I would connect with it now. ECW was great though in its time because it pushed the boundaries and it made other companies be better, but other companies took what was good from ECW when it comes to perhaps maybe the great wrestlers, because they had the great lucha-based wrestlers, great technical style wrestlers, then great hardcore wrestlers. They took the basis out of that. But the ones that were not able to be, let's say, put in front of a family audience or even, let's say, a mainstream audience,
Like a
didn't
New
get,
Jack.
yeah, they didn't get picked up. So yeah, New Jack obviously no longer with us. Used to enjoy some of. I used to enjoy his matches when I was younger. I think he used to always do the balcony dives. I remember his match with the former gangster tag team partner Mustafa, I believe it was, who he put through the table when jumping off a balcony. It's a frightening spot, but I tell you what, it does take your breath away if you watch it. But yeah, when you see the stuff now where it's like, I don't know, random toys in for no reason, what's it like? It doesn't even make sense. Like, I know, for example, you can argue with WB hardcore matches. Oh, kendo stick again, kendo stick. It's the same old thing. Yeah, I can agree with that as well. There's a balance in the middle, but pizza slices from Nick Gage don't do it for me at all. I just think that stuff for me has no place on my TV screen.
I don't mind it when they do silly stuff like paper cuts and stuff like that. I think that's funny, but when it gets to the point where like someone clearly needs medical attention, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this. But like, I'm the same as you do. Go back 25 years ago, would eat hardcore wrestling up for fun. Used to love it, and like I was never really a big ECW fan. I do remember some of the stuff, like what was the controversial ECW moment with the guy with New Jack? Was it New Jack? The guy who wasn't even a wrestler, and they managed to get him into wrestle, and they absolutely beat the living hell out of him.
That's
It's
sort of
like,
outside
it's
the
kind
ring.
of like, yeah, and you get to that, and you're kind of like, yeah, I think I'm okay now, and I'll just go back to the normal stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely worth a watch for those who have not seen Dark Side of the Ring, for sure. Bobby says, I've seen Ivanhoe cost Lara Akira to lose against Bailey, and Ivanhoe can go over the Women's Intercontinental Championship. That's a good way to do that, actually, Bobby. You could be on the money with that one.
Yeah, and then obviously they teased it at the Rumble, so it's, and honestly, I'll just be glad to see Ivy Nard doing some wrestling. I think she's been criminally underused because I think she has a decent little skill set on her, and I would like to see more of it.
Absolutely. Pierre hopes that Bobby is wrong, wants to see Lara and Chelsea in the chamber. Roy wants to see Thea Howe back
Agreed.
on TV. She's someone that's also suffering now with the breakup of Chase U at this point. And Aries says, what's your thought on Wesley, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek Igwe, I want to say, together on NXT? I think they could be the new MSK in the personal opinion. Honestly,
If anything,
I'm not feeling
I
it.
just I'm glad that it's getting Tyson and Tyreek on TV. I think that's the most important part. Time will tell with this one. I'm the same as you. Like, it's kind of like a convenient backstage segment that puts them together as a faction, and it's kind of like, we'll let this one roll and see where it goes.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that at this point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sold on it at this particular time.
Just to go back to what because we were originally talking about Kaylee Ray as well. The other thing as well that they could do with Kaylee Ray is the fact that I think she's the only other woman on the roster that was also NXT UK Women's Champion, and I think that's something you could play into, even if we're gonna, like, after WrestleMania, give Rhea Ripley a story with Alba Fire, and like you and me come from the same place. We were both UK, like. I know obviously Rhea's gone on to win multiple championships on the main roster, but I think that there's a reason there that you can sit and have Alba Fire go, oh, well, you and me have come from the same place. We've won everything exactly the same, but now I'm here. I want what you've got. I want that World Heavyweight Championship, and do it that way, man.
Yeah, it's certainly a way that you could go about doing it, to be fair. It would make a lot of sense, actually, for story purposes. So, yeah, kind of like that. Pierre saying that's David Arquette, the Scream actor NXT you were referring to earlier.
No. It wasn't that. It was, what, is that the ECW thing? It's not that.
Yeah, no, it's not the ECW. But Nick Gage did take on David Arquette at some point. But yeah, no, if they talk about the ECW thing, that's it's not David Arquette. That was yeah.
It's
Some poor civilian.
Yeah, it's oh my god, mass transit incident. That's it. There we go. I got the name of it. The mass transit incident. That's what I was thinking of.
Absolutely. Of course, Dark Side of the Ring's been announced for a new season that'll be coming out soon as well. Looking forward to that.
Do you know what? I haven't even watched all of the last season because at one point I did want to do like how we did with the Mr. McMahon one and wanted to do that, and it's kind of like, well, I don't really want to go and watch the ones just to have to go and watch them twice. So I was saving it. Also, haven't even finished the last season.
I haven't watched any of the last series, but I'm quite keen to get back into it. So
I've seen a few of them. Yeah,
should try and go in there. We'll see how we go. Natalia wants a TNA Knockouts title match. I would be down for that.
That's not a bad shot.
Yeah, not bad shot. Yeah. We quite liked Fandango being back on NXT, but I guess it's one and done.
I think he's back next week to challenge Lexus King, and I think that's it. And he's going to probably lose that Heritage Cup. So I think that's what they're planning on doing.
I think that's kind of what I meant there. So I'm going to say twice and done.
Oh, apologies. Right.
No, it's my way. I did say one and done, and he was there once. He will be there twice. So yeah, twice and done. So yeah. But yeah. Matthew asking what's Mariah May's phobia. I have no idea at this point. I might have missed it. I don't watch everything on Collision, so I can't answer that.
The fact you said Collision just says it all. Anyway.
Alyssa can't stand Charlotte. I hope she doesn't beat Tiffany. Don't see Charlotte's character.
God.
Not a fan of Charlotte at all. There, just can see that. Doesn't deserve to win the Royal Rumble. To be fair, I was hoping Charlotte didn't win the Royal Rumble either, Alyssa. I'll give you that. I actually hope that I mean, where do you think? Where's the early pick for you? Where's Charlotte going? Is she going to go for Tiffany? Is she going to do a Julia? Did she go for the NXT title again, or is she going to go for Rhea Part 3? What's the one for you?
If it was me, I'd go with Rhea because there is an unfinished story with those two, and it kind of makes the most sense going into WrestleMania. I think if they do Tiffany, she's winning against Tiffany. I think if she goes against Julia, she's winning against Julia. I think with at least Rhea, there's a 50-50. And it probably makes it the most interesting out of the whole lot of them. As much as, don't get me wrong, anyone that watched our review of WrestleMania last year before last, 2 years ago, when they did Rhea, 2 years ago, when they did Rhea versus Charlotte, was my match of the year. I thought it was fantastic. Like I said, I think there's a bit of an unfinished story there, so I'd go with Rhea versus Charlotte.
I think she will go Tiffany, but then I want her to go for Tiffany because I actually disagree. I think Tiffany winning at WrestleMania would actually really put her on the map. It would be massive.
You're insane. You are insane. How many times have we been here before where Charlotte is in a world title match? We've been here with Asuka. We've been here with other people. Oh, yeah, the Asuka's going to win or whoever's going to win. Tiffany Stratton ain't beating Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is going to win that title because it's Charlotte Flair.
Be fair, she needs two
more. Charlotte Flair wins LOL. That's the new saying.
Unfortunately, imagine though, this is another reason why I want it to be Tiffany. I don't want Rhea to lose to Charlotte twice.
Yeah, no, that's why I think Rhea makes more sense because it's a 50-50 because I can see both of them winning. Whereas I think with the other two, Charlotte wins for me all day long. In my opinion, I think that Rhea versus Charlotte should be held off for a different time because I think when they do it, they should actually main event. That's a fair point. Okay, I'll take that on board. Yeah,
they won't beat Tiffany. Yeah, she's still main. A bit me feels that Tiffany gets over either way, but I could be wrong there. Can you see Rhea Ripley doing Hollywood movies in the future? And do you see the same for Liv Morgan? I don't see why not. I don't know if it's in their interest, but I don't see why they couldn't.
Liv Morgan, yes. Rhea Ripley, no. Rhea Ripley seems to me like she's the kind of person that would start a band afterwards and be a bit like Chris Jericho and go on tour, make a new whole Judas, like a whole new, is it Judas's band? That's not Judas, Fozzy, sorry. Rhea Ripley's the new Fozzy.
Absolutely. Pierre says, why do you think Batista, John Cena and The Rock were always successful in Hollywood? I think they learned a lot in WWE with their character work and they were able to use what they've got that brings them to the table in Hollywood successfully.
I am going to be really controversial here. I don't think any of them are successful. I think The Rock's movies are successful because The Rock is in them. I think if you take The Rock out of the film, you don't want to watch the film. The films are still garbage in most aspects, to be fair. A lot of them are trash. And I think the reason why they make money is because The Rock's in it. John Cena, and do you know what? Unless he's in a comedy role, I don't like any of the stuff where he's serious. I just can't take him serious. He's like a walking wall, and I just find it hard to believe in a lot of these films. And Batista, I like Batista more because he picks the role because of the character and stuff. And even with like Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought he was great as Drax, and he didn't like try to take focus away. He was just like he's okay with being like the supporting role in most films, which he is, to be fair. Anything he's been sort of the main, like the headliner, also kind of sucked. So I wouldn't actually say any of them really good. You only watch Rock films because The Rock's in them.
For me, that would make The Rock successful, though. But that's just my take on it, and I respect your opinion.
He's still successful, but that's because it's The Rock, and that's why. That's why these films make millions and millions of dollars, but the films still generally suck.
Yeah, not all the films are good. I would agree with that.
No,
Alliance sign with AEW, you are right with that one there, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I think we're almost up to date there. Sid saying apparently Tom Colley has claimed that we will get Tiffany versus Charlotte. Charlotte will turn heel. I think Charlotte turning heel is certainly something we can see on the horizon because she's pretty much playing into it since she's made it.
She's not already a heel.
Yeah,
she's literally berating people, and she's going, "Well, I don't want to challenge you. I'm going to go to SmackDown." She's already a heel. Where's the turn? We already know.
I feel like
her
on Raw,
babyface turn was at the Rumble. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, she came back like the return pop, didn't she? On Raw, she played the tweener. I feel the last two shows she's been heel. She's more or less said like, you know, I'm Charlotte. I'm going to take over, and it's all about me again, kind of vibe. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think it's pretty much agreed though with the Sid comment. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Will Jay pick Gunter or Cody Rhodes? We'll do a quick answer on that one.
Say that again. Sorry, what was the question?
Will Jey Uso
pick Cody
Rhodes or Gunter? I think it's Gunter, isn't it?
It's Gunter, isn't it? It's gonna be Cody versus Cena. It has to be at this point.
Absolutely. Noob, thanks for joining us. We're just grateful you're here, my friends. So sorry I missed this, but WWE Releases pretty much give everyone a reason to hate on Triple H era. Unfortunately, that is kind of the case, but like, you know, it happens. It does happen. You know,
I'm just glad it happens once a year because I think that's the most important thing, and it's kind of like at least like again in the nicest way possible. It's like you can understand why, but like I said, it does suck.
Yeah, it does suck. It does suck. But to give Triple H hate, I think is because I've seen some people doing that on social media, and it's just people will do what they can to stretch their arguments in their favor. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Couple of things I just want to talk about before we go. Thank you all for your comments and your questions. You're all very, very awesome for getting involved. And yeah, legends for keeping us busy for the last 75 minutes. We totally will. We're going to take one more actually, just because it's just dropped in. And I think it's quite a fun question. Do you think WWE on Netflix is better than on WWE Network?
It's a kind of a it doesn't really compare because like I didn't used to watch Raw and SmackDown and NXT at all on TV. I used to watch YouTube highlights, and since it's been on Netflix, I've watched more full episodes. And I think like Raw, especially because there is no commercial breaks and it's just fully on Raw, and like I've enjoyed it a lot better. But like I think the problem is like with the network, it was always about the history and the content and stuff like that. But they found a way around that, and they're releasing it on YouTube now. So it's a kind of a hard one to really answer because they're kind of two different things. But I think for the fact that I'm watching full episodes of Raw and SmackDown again on Netflix, I think is probably the reason why we say Netflix is better.
Yeah, I mean, the things I'm going to agree with that. Like, if you go with the current stuff, like, yes, and for what you do get on Netflix, it's better. But for what is not better is that you don't have everything that you had access to before. So if you want to watch WCW, ECW, certain, like for me, this is a selfish thing that probably no one's interested in, but this is what I was doing when the network cut off. I was going through the early days of Monday Night Raw. I was watching through 1994. I have 4 episodes of 1994 on the Raw Vault on Netflix, so I cannot do that at the moment. Physically can't do it. So for me, that is a negative point because I can't go back and watch what I want to watch.
I don't think they're going to add like classic ECW as well to the YouTube channel, and I think some of that's just going to stay locked away for the future until like the network comes back or something at some point, maybe in the future.
I would like to hope that they will bring back certain things, like because with ECW, what they can do is like, for example, best RVD ECW matches, for example. They could do something like that. So at least you get to see like the Jerry Lynn series, for example, could be quite good. But
Possibly,
how many people can actually click on it though? That's the problem. But to not have WCW, like that's the NWO at its height and its rise. I mean, you talk about Hogan's heel turn, for example. That stuff needs to get onto Netflix. Like that's just it needs to be there.
Yeah. Like I said, they'll probably make. Do you know what it is? They'll probably make another YouTube channel just to get more subscribers to it.
Yeah, probably. And that probably will work, to be fair. It'll probably work. Tino's in the house. I hope you're doing well, Tino. He asked who shows up in AEW first. Cedric. Cedric's the right answer.
Good guess.
I think it's going to be the one. Anyway, right. Well, a couple of things just before we close off. First off, I want to talk about the triple threat match we had on SmackDown, which you've not seen yet. So it's probably a bit of a waste of time. But have you seen the LA Knight clip of mental health?
I have, yes. Yes, I have, yeah. Yeah, I've seen
that. That was pretty much what I wanted to talk to you about. But it was awesome.
Dude, amazing. This guy has set himself up now to be like a monarch for WWE, to be a moniker, to be that guy that, like, going forward will be in that spot for WWE. He's the guy that will be there for TED Talks, essentially. Like, LA Knight is the TED Talk guy of WWE. I thought this was, fantastic, and whether it was he was meant to do it or whether it was off the cuff, either way, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, either way, fantastic. And the fact is, if you're going to go down that avenue, which he was going to for a promo, obviously with the, I don't know if you've seen this part, but Drew McIntyre, but then to actually come out and say, look, this is just there's levels, and if you feel that emotion, you let it out. It's fine. It's good for the mental health. But if you're doing something like Drew McIntyre's complaining every single day, every single minute, that's when it's too far. Like, then he played into the promo, made it work perfectly. So, credit to that. They did a really, really good job of that.
All I've got to do is put Marley and Me on, and I'll be crying instantly because I hate that film. But that's for all different reasons. But that's why I tend not to watch Marley and Me.
I turned it off after half an hour. I couldn't do it anymore. Just couldn't do it. Nope. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I talked to you about this previously. I made a bit of a bold prediction a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to expand on it. I predicted that Jimmy Uso will win the United States Championship at WrestleMania.
Okay.
And I am now going to expand on that because I think WWE needs to make this WrestleMania moment. They need to have Jimmy Uso win a singles championship on the same night that Jey Uso wins the World Heavyweight Championship. They can have a moment in the ring together holding singles gold.
Eddie
guys. Pretty much, yeah. But where WWE can actually air it afterwards now. So, just have that. We've made it as singles, guys. We've made ourselves our own people, because even still now, where Drew McIntyre kind of still pointing out, Jimmy, like they can still be that saltiness, but they can have that real true moment of we've defined singles guys with championships and we've made it on our own.
The comment on the last video we did where they're no longer which one are you, and they're now the fact that everyone knows which one is which is such an amazing dynamic. But I know what you mean. It's just, if this ain't Rikishi pulling weight and being like, if my other son ain't winning a singles championship, we're gonna have a fight. And that's like, Rikishi's just, I think, obviously very vocal about his sons being successful. But I can see what you mean. Again, I'll revert back to my comments in the Rumble review. These two need to work on in-ring, because I can't be dealing with super kick matches at WrestleMania again. And that's going to be my biggest thing. These guys, they've always had each other to bounce off of when it comes to promos. And again, this is another thing they have to work on. They've got to be able to cut promos. They can put a title on, it's no problem. But it's the biggest show of the year. And if you want to do something like that, you don't want to be like, oh, well, they both won championships, but their matches absolutely sucked. And that's the biggest worry I have with it, is that although it will be a great moment, just like Jay winning the Royal Rumble, I don't want it to be a case of that like everyone just poos all over it because the match was rubbish, or the story was, do you know what I mean, disinteresting, and no one really cared about it. So I'm all for it, dude, but they've got to make sure they do it right, because I just really don't want to end up like last year's match.
Totally agree with you. And the thing is, as well, like when you watch Jimmy and Jay, they have a similar style in ring anyway. So they still both do the splashes, their finishing moves. So I think the way that you can break it up, obviously, Jay versus Gunther, you do as the match. Jimmy, do it in a six-way ladder match. Just that's what you should do. Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Santos Escobar. They're all got on the WrestleMania card. Then stick them in the ladder match and have Jimmy Uso win the United States Championship on the biggest stage.
Yeah. It's the safest way to do it, because you'll get Jimmy over without having to put too much focus on Jimmy. Like, ladder matches are chaos and fun anyway, and you've got 5 other guys in there to bounce off and be willing to do some crazy stuff, and it will get Jimmy over, no worries. That's probably the best way to do it. But if they did do it as a singles match, again, if he's going to go in there with Shinsuke Nakamura, you've got to trust that Shinsuke Nakamura can carry Jimmy to a really good match, and that's the hardest part.
I'm really not enjoying Shinsuke Nakamura's current run as United States champion or the gimmick.
Go back to the comic book villain that they were doing last year. It was so much better. It was so good, and like his presentation with like the comic book art style was just so. And do you know what as well? Death Rebel. I'll go back to him because I mentioned him earlier. They've absolutely killed his entrance music as well with this remix version.
I'm not a fan of that either. No, cannot wait for a change in the mid-card championship area. I feel it's wasted at this particular time. Nothing against Shin. It's just we know he can be presented a lot better than what he currently is.
Yeah.
Tino says did say they were called up NXT stars. We have talked about it already, Tina. We talked about it at the top of the video, but we appreciate you stopping by and letting those know that come in late, because they may not know the reason why, because we've not talked about it since. So thank you for letting everyone know. Kevin Owens has signed a new WWE contract. It's great to see he'll be there for another 5 years. Excited about that news.
Is that true? Is that fact?
Yeah, true. Fact, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Oh, dude, that's best news of the day for me.
There you go. That's even chatting to me
for the next 5 years.
Absolutely. Can't wait for that. Go all the way to WrestleMania 9 for KO at that point. It's not a good mania. I am not bothered about Netflix not having the back catalogue. Only watch the latest WWE. Hey, Sid, that's fine. That's you, and that's cool.
Sid, let me talk to you a second. You got to understand here. We need the retro stuff for retro reviews, okay? This is the problem we have. We can't do retro reviews without the retro content.
Thankfully, we have 200 PLEs. Yes, we have at least 200 PLEs we can work with, but yeah, we would like the stories that can go with them, so we know what we're talking about when we get there. But we'll figure it out. Triple H era think different. Roman, Charlotte think that different. Not win all the time. I think what the list is trying to say, that they shouldn't win all the time. We'll see. Roman has lost the title.
Do you know what? The tease of a Roman Punk Seth triple threat, like we talked about it on the Rumble review. But dude, at this minute, I'm like, honestly, don't know who wins this. That would be. We're gonna get to Rumble weekend. We're gonna get to predictions. I'm gonna be like, dude, I don't know. Honestly, don't know, because they're 3 like major powerhouse stars in WWE, and although the story might lead it, triple threat with 3 massive stars like that is insanely hard to call, especially if there's nothing on the line. If there was a championship title, you kind of favor more towards the champion in most cases. But if there's no title, I don't know who wins that, man.
No idea. It's going to be interesting. No. The only thing I'm thinking at the moment is if CM Punk doesn't call in this favor, he gets used in the WrestleMania main events, that he wins the WrestleMania main event. Maybe Heyman turns on Roman in that main event.
Ooh, maybe.
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing indeed. Last comment, and we're wrapping up then today. Could we see AJ Styles be the one to defeat Braun Breaker for the IC title? I think it's going to be an amazing match, but I think Braun retains.
Yeah, Braun is not losing that IC title. Well, he lost it to Jey Uso a little while ago and then won it back 4 weeks later, so anything's possible. But I think that was a mistake personally, but I'd like to see him carry on with it. It depends who they're booking with Mania. If they're going to go Penta, I wouldn't mind seeing in that IC title on Penta at WrestleMania.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that could be a very good look indeed. But this is our time when we're going to wrap up the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for your wonderful questions and comments. Big thank you to the man next to me, NX Steve, as well, who has kept us with some great opinions on all things pro wrestling over the last hour and a half. If you want to know what's coming on the channel later this week, myself and NX Steve will be back with two sweet Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast as we give our predictions for NXT Vengeance Day. That's right, they'll be dropping on Wednesday live on the channel, and undecided if it will be live or not as of yet, but one thing you look forward to on Thursday, AEW Grand Slam Australia predictions will be dropping as well. So make sure to keep an eye out for those videos. And also, just before we wrap up here today, you mentioned about retro content, NX Steve. I think it's time to give the result for the next SCW Rewind. The poll has been up. Is it going to be Survivor Series 2002 or is it going to be Elimination 2010? I know the answer, but I can't remember the percentage, so I'm going to quickly dive in and find you because I want to give you facts, ladies and gentlemen. Don't want to just give you.
Just for anyone while you're checking that, what is the Survivor Series? What's the special? What's so special about that Survivor Series?
Well, that Survivor Series is the first ever Elimination Chamber match, and that's why it's been selected. And of course, 2010 was the first ever Elimination Chamber pay-per-views, and that's what made that work as well. And of course, Shawn Michaels was desperate, cost The Undertaker. We wondered if John Cena might get desperate this year. We'll have to wait and see. But the result is in, and it goes 76% to 24%. Wow. SCW Rewind this month will be Survivor Series 2002.
Awesome. It's me. As much as I'd like to watch the 2010 one, 2002 excites me a bit more because there's some proper old school wrestlers in there.
There is some proper old school wrestling. Plus, Saliva is the theme tune, and I freaking love
Saliva. Oh, dude, sold already. I'm already winning, man. Is it always?
It is. It's always.
Oh, dude, one of my favorites. Yes, cannot wait.
I love it. I love it. Yep. Look out for that. That's coming in the next week or two. Thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. We'll see you for the next one.